Alright. Ready. What is going on, guys? Joey Franzo here with Flex Training Systems, as well as 37 million people in the Twitch chat. And today we're going to talk about high bar versus low bar. I asked them, what do you guys want me to talk about in regards to that topic? And they just kind of threw a bunch of different things at me. So the text that you see on screen in front of you is supposed to help me kind of guide me through this, right? Think of it like a Q&A. So we're just gonna go from the top down. I don't know how long this is gonna take, but if I get through all of it, that'll be. I mean, I could rapid fire, but I'm gonna do a little bit more detail. So high bar versus low bar. I guess generally I'll speak on it. How do you know whether you should do one or the other? Really, the best way to figure it out is to try them. For example, before I had worked with John Hack many moons ago, almost 5 years ago, 4 years ago. Typically I was like, most people should, switch to low bar, right? They can lift more weight that way. They're more stable. They can use bigger muscles, I guess you could say. You could argue that with low bar, you're able just to recruit a little bit more muscles than, with high bar. It really depends on the person, how they're built. When I inherited John Hack, I saw he was like a mid-bar, sort of a high mid-bar. He was extremely upright. His knees went very far out in front of him, but he was really, really efficient and strong squatting that way. And I didn't change him. I didn't want to change him. I said, all right, I mean, you're kind of nuts this way. A lot of big guys, I believe Jesus squats high bar as well. So not everyone is going to be low bar. It just really depends how the person is built. Are they able to keep the bar over midfoot? Are they tipping forward? Are they sacrificing stability, the amount they can lift? Just like a lot of different factors that go into it. What's their bar path like? Like some people with high bar, they'll kind of tip forward when they initiate, and then it's kind of vertical. They have good bar path, and then they kind of tip back up. It's just weird, right? There's a lot of different things to look at. Again, there's no one in front of me, so I can't really give any specific examples aside from whatever I just mentioned. But yeah, try them out, see what feels the most comfortable. You can get good at one versus the other. Like, you might be a little bit better low bar, but you have health issues, so maybe high bar is better for you. It just depends, right? Whenever deciding on a stance, a squat stance, deadlift stance, bench, grip, anything like that, you want to keep an open mind, try different things. As you're in those very early stages of your powerlifting and sort of developing as a lifter, doing a lot of bodybuilding movements, kind of figuring out where your strengths are, the path will become clear to you. Kind of like when you don't know what to do with your life and you're going through school and you're taking a lot of different classes and you kind of, you don't really know where you should be going with it. When you try different things, it can open up the path to what you should be doing or what you want to do. Anyway, moving on, heels versus flats. Why we're moving to the flex ones? I'll answer this from back to front. We're moving to the flex ones because they just provide like an unrivaled stability. It's a very tight shoe that cups your foot. It basically, the way I like to think of it is like if I were to squat barefoot, my feet are like squishy, right? And I'm gonna move around, and it kind of just squeezes my foot together and makes it nice, solid. It's hard, it's flat, and I just feel really awesome squatting in them, and that's why I recommend them. I don't recommend things to people that I don't believe in myself. Heels versus flats, again, it's kind of like the first thing we talked about. You got to try them out, right? You got to try them both. See which one works best for you. If you have trouble hitting depth and your stance is already decently wide, then you might just have to wear heels. If you can hit depth just fine and you have a lot of power. I mean, me personally, when I switched from heels to flats, I feel a lot more power. I felt like I could kick my hips back farther, which kind of gave me a little bit of a coil. Like if you imagine like you're pulling a rubber band, and with flats I could pull that rubber band back even farther, right? Like a bow and arrow, get even more tension, and then when I let it go, I just pop right up. So you got to try them both. Not everyone's going to be good in everything, but at the end of the day, we're looking for stability, we're looking for power, we're looking for, just moving efficiently, right? And obviously competition depth and things like that. So again, I don't have anyone in front of me, so I'm not gonna give you like specific, I'm not gonna push you in one way over the other. Why heels on high bar? So high bar squats tend to emphasize the quads more, and the heels just kind of double down on that. High bar and heels is a great squat accessory. I use it for my squats. When I go away from high bar and heels, I kind of feel like I'm not really using my quads in my low bar. So that's why I really like to keep this movement in. Yeah, it just helps a lot. And I feel like if you haven't tried that, you know, that combination of low bar and then you have high bar and heels, if you're somebody that needs that, you can try it. There are some guys, like for example Russ, I don't remember the last time I gave him high bar. I think we're just running with 2 low bar because it's working. So yeah, it just really depends. But yeah, the heels are going to emphasize the quads more. They're going to give you a little bit more range of motion. Bodybuilding, if you're bodybuilding, you're probably going to want to use heels as opposed to flats, but they can both be beneficial. Okay, now next one. Someone asked SSB versus high bar. I put trash in front of it because that is to remind me that the safety bar is often looked at like a sort of a lower body, somewhat of a squat accessory, right? And the safety bar, in my opinion, is actually more of a back exercise. It torches your back, it smashes your posterior chain, and if you have a long torso and strong legs, you're just going to be hitting your back. You're not really going to be overloading your legs much at all, like you would on like a low bar squat. So I feel like a lot of people sort of misassign or misdiagnose, you know, like, oh, we'll add SSB to like, you know, hit your legs. It's not a leg movement, in my opinion. If anyone here has tried safety bar, you're going to feel your back more than if you're doing a regular squat. Also, the shoulder blades aren't as tight, so like you're just gonna feel your back even more. You can use it to sort of replace high bar. Like for example, if I had someone that, if they had super strong legs and the goal was to sort of hit like recovery lower body work and then really smash the back, in an off season you can hit some safety bar. If you have a good conventional deadlift, you know, when you want to hit your back a little bit more and while getting some leg work, it can be like a nice middle ground. But I just think there's better things for your legs. Like you shouldn't be doing, I don't think safety bar is a really good leg movement. I think it's definitely a posterior chain sort of back type movement. It's a hard movement, man. That thing kills me. There are some people that have backs made out of titanium steel alloys that can essentially SSB the world, which is, if you guys know who Burley Bork is, he can safety bar a lot because he also has a very sturdy, strong conventional deadlift. He's a little bit shorter, got that shorter torso, and it just works out really well for him. So if you don't tip forward on the safety bar, I mean, the safety bar is also weird because like there's movement, right? Like you could hold it down and get more of like a high bar action, tip forward a little bit more. You could push it up and get sort of, you know, kind of try to mimic a low bar, right? There's a lot of different things you can do with it. If you have shoulder problems, it can be useful, right? You want to get some squatting in, but your shoulders are messed up. So it can be versatile, but like I said, if you're healthy and you're using it as a leg accessory, it's not good for that. I think there's better things you could do for your legs. How much? Think of it as levels, right? If you want to do like less upper back and mostly legs, you're gonna do or like really good posterior chain, sort of middle of your thigh, upper thigh, low bar, right? And then if you want to go further down from that, a little bit harder in the back, a little bit more in the front of the leg, you're gonna do high bar. And if you want to go even more from that, and you just want to like think of like turning a knob from legs to back, right? So low bar will be mostly legs, and then the more you turn the lever, you're gonna go to safety bar, which is gonna be smashing your back. Stance width and both. Okay, so for high bar, I put my grip in a little bit closer than I do in my low bar because it just makes me feel tighter. Low bar is one of those things where you want to be as narrow as possible without causing yourself pain, right? Because you want to stay as tight as you can. Unfortunately, for some people, your mobility is not going to allow you to get very narrow at all, much at all, and that's just something you're gonna have to learn to train. Like you just gotta, if your body allows you to do a wide grip, then you just gotta do a wide grip. When I first started powerlifting, I used to use my pinky on the ring when I squatted, and my shoulders would be destroyed, and then I moved out, and now I'm like 1 inch, index finger 1 inch outside of the ring. So that is like literally, 5 finger space difference from when I first started. That's just what works best for me. That doesn't cause me pain, and that's what I like. I think I just went over grip width when I said stance width. So we're gonna flip these now. Now we're gonna do stance width. That was grip width. So for stance width, I mean, what are we looking for in the squat, right? You want to have your stance wide enough so that you can hit depth, and you want to have a good bar path. So you need to find, some sort of middle ground to allow that to happen. A lot of people they won't even look at your stance width. They won't even think about stance width, right? They'll just try to like get you to strengthen certain areas to try to make your squat bar path more in line, when in reality the solution to your problem is literally moving your stance out like an inch. Like if you were to move your stance out 1 inch, you could fix this problem. But instead, you're trying to get the lifter to like do all these different things, right? Just weird shit to like build different areas to try to be more efficient, which very early on stuff like that can be useful. But like literally I can't tell you how many squats I fixed just by like moving their stance out. Like literally just move the stance out a little bit, turn the toes out, or maybe I move it in, right? It just depends. So again, you want good depth, you want good bar path, you want stability, you want to be able to use also like hip socket. Like people have different hip sockets, and that's why we have people that squat unbelievably ridiculously wide, because that's just what feels best for them. And then people that squat a little bit more narrow, shoulder width, whatever. Whole lot of yawning going on. Alright, meme belt squats. Belt squats are just a leg accessory that takes out the back. Another substitute for belt squat could be leg press. I know they are not the same. One is a little bit more specific than the other because you're actually squatting like in a belt squat, mimicking a low bar squat, but this is a nice way to kind of hit the legs without getting the back involved. Me personally, I have back pain when I belt squat, so I do leg press, single leg press, really light, and I just pump it out. Burns the hell out of my legs, and yeah, it's just another way to get better leg work. You know what I'm saying? It's the complete opposite of the safety bar. Complete opposite, if you want to think of it like that. So it's useful. It's like adding close grip to your comp bench, or adding, RDLs to your conventional. It's just another accessory that can help. Maybe you've already done so much low bar, and your legs are still kind of fresh, your back is torched, and you want to hit more legs. You know what I'm saying? Okay, front squats. Yeah, it hits your upper back. Your knees have to travel the furthest on this, but because it is so taxing on the upper back, for most people, like the majority of people, your back is gonna give out before you ever start really working the legs that hard. So you just want to use it to address weaknesses accordingly. So if your front squat sucks and your upper back is just trash, and did I say front squat? I meant sumo deadlift. If your sumo deadlift sucks and you have really weak upper back, front squats can be a nice supplement to kind of help with that. It's like a developmental exercise, right? Alright, knee travel memes. A lot of people think that if your knees go forward, that's bad. So like in powerlifting, we need to hit depth, right? And for some people, there's no way you're going to hit depth unless your knees travel how they need to. So if your stance width is appropriate, I always say just kick your hips back, let your knees go forward as far as they need to in order for you to hit depth. There are going to be some like weird things with just like the way people are built, and like the tolerance to certain stressors in the lower body has not been built up yet, or there's just areas that are weak. So you may have some pain with excessive knee travel, but it just, like I said, it depends. If you're squatting in heels, obviously there's going to be more knee travel. And if that pain is like crazy, then you might need to compromise and just go back to flats or something like that. You know what I mean? Like everybody's different, and everybody's going to be able to get away with, squatting however they squat. And I think that there's way too much emphasis on the knees going too far forward and that being a problem, as opposed to not everyone is the same. Let your body move how it needs to move in order to accomplish what you want to accomplish. Alright, last thing here, pause squat as an accessory. yes, boss squats can be a great accessory. They're good for teaching people, one, to hit depth, two, to not be afraid of tension, to add more stability to your squat. If you're weak in that bottom portion, it can kind of familiarize yourself with the bottom of the hole, so that way when you're doing your repetitions, you can remember what it felt like to be down there and sort of replicate that each time. Pod squat is about ingraining your squat depth into your brain so that it can become second nature. It can get like just placed into your subconscious and you can just never mess it up. Yeah, we got through it all. Thank you guys so much for being here. If you're able to take something away from that action-packed squat key segment, please let me know in the comments below. If you have any suggestions for further videos, please let me know in the comments below. Wide body shirts still in development. I'm just making final little tweaks to them. I think we're gonna end up doing the top 2 designs. If you guys didn't see those, it's on my Instagram page. Let me get a hashtag. Shit, you don't have to put a hashtag this time. Just tell me if you learned something or something that I said that you didn't know. Hit me up in the comments below. Let me know. Alright guys, talk to you in the next one. Peace.